We have Doug Elliott, Greg Leonard, Eva Gaglione, Christopher McKinney, Greg Dale. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Doug Elliott. I'm the owner of recreational fishing lakes in Southern California, and my family operates one of the largest fish hatcheries in the state of California. In over 30 years of hatchery operations and fee for fishing, I've yet to have one report of a negative effect on the environment due to stocking of trout or catfish in these areas. The fish are widely distributed. I'm sure you can't see this, but you'll see the colors and recognize that these fish are widely distributed throughout the state. And really, in stocking fish, the only thing we're doing is replacing the fish that have been harvested by fishermen. Nothing's changed. They're already there, and all we're doing is replacing them. Recently, in an Aquacultural Development Committee meeting, they held up this chart. It's an easy one-page flow chart showing how pre-stock protocol would take place. I submit to you that that was deceptive, because what they didn't do was show you what goes behind that. I'm holding the pre-stocking evaluation protocol, California Department of Fish and Game, and as I look through this, it's terrible. There are 152 questions that must be addressed, analyzed, and so forth in this document. And God forbid, if you get a yes answer to any one of these 52 questions, then you have to supply documentation concerning what would be done with the yes answer. You must define, as they mentioned, the proximity to federally designated critical habitats. Give analysis of habitat of characteristics. The habitat, all the characteristics, that's what it says here. And also water quality in the area. Determine what species are there. This is impossible. This is a moving target. We have animals and we have birds that migrate. We have insects and we have plants that have seasons. How long does it take? Over a year? Gentlemen, I won't go on. It's voluminous. I just ask you that if these regulations are enacted, my lakes will close, my 50 employees will be discharged. And let me give you an example of how this will affect the economy. I personally stock $1 million worth of fish every year, and that $1 million will not be going to hatcheries, and they too will lose jobs. Thank you, gentlemen, for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
Hi, my name is Greg Leonard. I own Freshwater Fish Company. It's a 200-acre fish farm in Elk Grove, California, right south of Sacramento. We do a substantial amount of pond stocking of the exempt species. We raise bluegill, largemouth bass, channel catfish. I stock about, I have probably 2 to 3 customers come a week and pick up fish. Most of them spend less than $1,000. They're 90% of them are man-made ponds on their ranches or whatnot. I don't believe 90% of them would apply for a stocking permit to stock their pond. I think I would lose that business. My company employs 7 full-time people. So basically I'm feeding 7 families. I think if these proposed regulations go into effect, it will put me out of business. I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old son that have expressed interest in my business and taking it over. And I would hate to think that could never happen. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you.
Can't hear you very well for some reason, John. Is that microphone a problem?
Hi, I'm Iva Gaglione. I am employed by Star Milling Company in Paris, California. We are a full-line aquaculture feed manufacturer providing feed to the farms here in California. I am strongly against this bill. It would affect not only my job, it'll affect our company, who employs a large number of people. It'll affect my customers, which of course will affect me. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gaglione.
Christopher McKinney, Greg Dale, Anthony Scher, Robert
Mr.
Ledford.
McKinney not here? What was the next? Okay,
Greg
he's off
Dale.
the list. Who's next?
Greg Dale,
Off the list?
Anthony Scher,
Off the list?
Robert Ledford. Robert Ledford. Chad Vanderleden. Go ahead, sir.
In view of the time and our
Your
cut
name,
period,
your name,
I'm going to
your name.
come. I'm sorry?
Give your name, please.
Oh, I'm Tony Shore. I'm past president of the California Aquaculture Association. I am co-chair of the Aquaculture Development Committee. Have had the pleasure of interacting with Stafford and his staff. Unfortunately, it was not successful. I'm here to talk about the ubiquitous and infamous Appendix K just a bit. I believe that the Appendix K, in a biological and scientific sense, is utterly flawed and deeply deficient as a means of doing the job it's supposed to do. This, in part, emanates from the fact that the EIR itself is definitely flawed. It fails in any way to rise to the level of scientific evidence to justify the extent of this regulation and going to such an extreme. We have asked the department repeatedly for any instance of our stocked species being responsible in the 37 counties for any form of detrimental form, and the answer is no, we can't do that. We've had a continual claim that this regulation is intended for us to collect information such that we know what that might be. I'm horribly confused by all of that. In general, I'm going to try and speed through Appendix K in just a second. It lacks any form of criteria or guidelines for making the several levels of decision that are involved in the important progress from, a desktop examination to a full-blown and outrageously expensive professional scientific investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Robert Ledford, Chad Vanderleden, Peter Struffenegger, Tony Vaught. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, my name is Robert Ledford. I'm the general manager of Jess Ranch Fish Hatchery and Fishing Lakes in Apple Valley. We're a family-owned operated business for the past 70 years. We have our own public fishing lakes as well as our own private trout hatchery. We currently stock many waters in Southern California. I employ several people. The proposed regulations could excuse me, be very detrimental to our business. So we extremely oppose the new regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chad Vanderleden, Peter Struffenegger, Tony Vaught, Bruce McDonald. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I am Chad Vanderlinden, and I represent Silver Cup Fish Feed. We are actually not a company here in California. I'm from the state of Utah, and this was brought to our attention, and I just wanted to come here and testify before you good folks today that this is impacting the industry in a big way, and I feel it a privilege and an honor to be able to serve these fish farmers. They're great people. They have an honest living, and they provide a recreational need for the people of California. And to go through with these regulations at this time, I get calls all the time about our farmers and the lack of money that's out there. I just think these regulations could put a lot of farmers out of business, and I want to testify that to you today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderleden.
Hello, Peter Struffenegger. I've been a fish farmer here in the state of California. To say that this is an onerous piece of regulation as I've ever seen, and would urge you to reject it outright. The impact, not only, you got to look at the chain, it doesn't impact just the farmers, it impacts other farmers who have stock ponds, it affects fishermen's recreational activities, and all the ancillary businesses that rely on that. Especially at a time when there's a lot of distress in the economy. We've heard earlier today about the senator this morning talked about how it would reduce the fishing opportunities and probably a large part of some people's subsistence by making fishing permits or fishing licenses required instead of just being able to go fish at lakes. This has become a major distraction for this industry. I mean, we're used to being assaulted, but our estimate is that we spent about $1 million to date fighting this and trying to understand it. It's become a major distraction for many members of the industry who have spent a significant amount of time doing this instead of raising fish and building their businesses. The other issue is this is part of only phase 1 of phase 2. We've heard it's going to be piecemeal later. We heard that the disease and invasive species were going to come later. We heard in one meeting where one of the department officials was surprised when he said, well, we were kind of surprised when invasive species was only a quarterly inspection. We kind of thought weekly or daily would be required. If you have a lake, how do you walk around the lake every day looking for invasive species that might be getting into the lake? If you adopt these regulations, you're going to create a worse situation. On the way down, I stopped by a friend and said, that has a koi pond, and they basically said, we'll just find fish from out of state so we don't have to comply with this. So please reject this and send a message to the department that you should not even want to consider phase 2 issues.
Thank you, Mr. Treffiger.
Tony Vaught, Bruce McDonald, Michael Lee, Dave Odell, Carol Belser.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Tony Vaught of Professional Aquaculture Services. I own the business. I've been stocking lakes in California for over 30 years. And today I heard something that bothered me greatly. I don't think I've been a party to illegal activities or a party to the department in stocking lakes and rivers or lakes and ponds in California. Those regulations that are under the stocking are under Section 6400, which is exempt from aquaculture. And the department put forth those regulations for stocking and made those areas exempt for a reason. We're only talking about 6 fish here, and I've got a publication, Fish and Game publication, that was put together on warm water fish. In this publication it says that these fish that we're talking about, primarily largemouth bass, channel catfish and bluegill and trout, were here since the late 1800s. The largemouth bass was stocked in 1874, the channel catfish in 1874 as well, and the bluegill were stocked in the late 1800s. So we're not talking about 1991, we're talking about going way back. On page 46 of this publication, it says that publication explains important habitat information regarding fish. Sometimes fish stocking programs are carried out as a means of eliminating a biological dead end. These reservoirs were stocked at times when fisheries was needed and recreation was needed in the state of California. So I urge you, directors or commissioners, to reject this regulation and let private stocking continue in the state of California.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught.
Bruce McDonald, Michael Lee, Dave Odell.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bruce McDonald, and I'm a manufacturer sales representative. And this is my son here, Casey. He's 11 years old, and he loves to fish. I brought him along because he was interested to find out what the process was that goes on with deciding whether we get to fish or not in this great state of California. I said I'm an independent manufacturer sales representative. There are thousands of manufacturers of fishing tackle in the United States, across the world. Virtually all of them employ an independent factory salesman. They don't hire their own factory salesmen, in-house salesmen. They farm it out to folks like me who make a living selling fishing tackle in California. There are four of us in my sales agency. There are literally hundreds, of probably over 1,000 of salesmen just like me running around California, supporting our families, making a living, selling fishing tackle in California. I am terrified about what I've heard from the industry regarding the future of fish hatcheries in the state of California. I've listened all day. I've been reading for months. I'm very concerned that it's going to be impossible for a fish hatchery to even remain open in the state of California should these regulations go forward. I'm urging you to reject them. I'm on behalf of not just me and my family and my son, but also on behalf of everybody who makes a living in the fishing tackle industry in this great state. I brought Casey along because he wanted to see what goes on here, and I hope that you come away with this, with that the right minds will make the right decisions. What do you think, buddy? All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald, and thank you, Casey.
Michael Lee, Dave Odell, Carol Belser, Gordon Hinkle.
My name is Michael Lee. I'm with the California Aquaculture Association. And on behalf of California Aquaculture Association and their members, I want to ask you to reject these regulations. I also want to state that 17 senators and 19 assembly members have signed letters of opposition urging you to vote down these regulations as well. In addition to state elected officials, both the California State Association of Counties and the Regional Council of Rural Counties are opposed. In a letter that the California State Association of Counties wrote, they stated, quote, "Counties are not immune from the fiscal crisis. Recreation and sport fishing spur economic development in some of California's hardest hit rural communities. New regulations and fees will have a serious impact on the industry and the local communities that depend on them." I would also like to note that many outdoor and recreational interests are opposed to these regulations as well. Just to go down the list quickly, Blue Ribbon Coalition is opposed, Western Outdoor News is opposed, Gibson Ranch Lake is opposed, Modoc County Recreation Commission is opposed, Pardee Lake Recreation Area, Fresno County Sportsman's Club, and the Vietnam Veterans of America. So again, on behalf of CAA and its members and all those who I just listed, I urge you to please reject these regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. For future speakers, if you would keep the microphone right about neck level, please come forward, sir. If about neck level, you won't pop the mic.
It'll be way low for me. Dave Odell, Rocky Mountain Recreation. We manage lakes. I mainly wanted to just come up and state that we've heard from the fish farmers, you know, the great impact that that's going to have on them. I wanted to come up and state that it goes down the line. The tackle representative, us as lake managers, there's all kinds of businesses that this is going to impact. I actually manage a few lakes, and I actually get to see the families come and fish. And it's a very wholesome thing that they can do, and they're getting their kids outside, getting them away from the computers and games. And I just think it's the recreational fishing is a great thing. Please do the right thing.
Thank you, Mr. Odell.
Carol Belser, Gordon Hinkle, Bill Engler, Craig Kessler, Philip Wong. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Commission. My name is Carol Belser. I'm with the Lake Casitas Recreation Area, Casitas Municipal Water District, and I'll just give you an overview of what we've been experiencing in the last couple of years. Lake Casitas was created in 1958 to provide drinking water for 70,000 customers. 254,000 acre-feet water capacity. Acre-feet of water capacity. In the last 50 years to sustain our balanced recreational fisheries by planting largemouth bass, crappie, catfish, bluegill, and up until 2010, the Department of Fish and Game stocked Lake Casitas regularly with rainbow trout. Since then, we've had what we've been understood by our biologist liaison as a moratorium on stocking until an assessment has been conducted. Although today on the PowerPoint it looked as if you have performed an evaluation of every stocked water, so I'd like to see the results on that. But we've been holding our own by stocking with this no permit needed private stocking procedure. We've been stocking for the last 2 years, and just this year, triploid rainbow trout, and because of the quagga threat, which is a paramount concern to us and our infrastructure, we ensure that our stock trout are certified pathogen-free. These trout were certified by the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory, and as far as quagga and zebra mussel, it was certified free by the Scripps Institute in La Jolla. So now it looks possible that we won't be able to stock under this exemption. We happen to have a fisheries biologist on staff. We're a municipal agency. He pretty much said that at best it will be very, very difficult and expensive, and at worst it'll be impossible for Lake Casitas to stock. So I encourage you to deny and reject this proposal before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Velcher. You have a beautiful facility. I've been on it.
Gordon Hinkle. Is Gordon here? Okay, Gordon's retired. Bill Engler, Craig Kessler, Philip Wong, Tim Goodson. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Bill Engler. I'm a fish farmer in Southern California. I have a facility that I grow tilapia, catfish, and carp, and I stock out. I've been in business for over 30 years, and I have probably close to 15 employees. And I deliver live fish to over 40 stores in Southern California and all over Southern California, and I stock probably over 10 to 12 fishing lakes. And I am opposed to this regulations that are being proposed. I worried about the costs that are going to affect me and possibly not be able to continue my business. So I'm much opposed to the regulations. I had a couple other points. I have my doubts that these regulations are going to help and increase the protection of wildlife as they're proposed right now. So, and another point I wanted to make was that could be quite a few aquaculture facilities going out of business because of this regulations, and at a time when the economy is not very good in California, it could be a big problem. And for various reasons, another point is that the Fish and Game's funding are understocking. They have trouble enforcing some of the regulations they have in place. I can't see them in pushing more regulations for not a very good reason. And one other thing that there's a demand for these fish, and they're, if the California producers can't fulfill it, I think it might be coming from out of state or out of country, which would be a worse situation.
Thank you, Mr. Engler.